So I got the Ikaros set, and believe it or not, I'm kind of disappointed. It has a great gimmick that should actually be heavily exploitable, and really, it's not even usable. But I do have a build that is somewhat viable without using that whole gimmick that it comes with, and believe it or not, uh, I'm kind of upset that like you can't perform with that gimmick because it would make for such a great kind of thing. Um, I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. I'm Darkstrider, the YouTube Assassin, and let's talk about the Ikaros set. What's up, everyone? Like I said before, it's Darkstrider, the YouTube Assassin. I have the Ikaros set, and it's just really weird. I mean, first of all, it has you looking like, I don't know, like Hawkman or Harvey Birdman or whatever. Like, it's just a really weird mask set. Really weird, like glowing feathers, I guess, because it's Icarus, who flew too close to the sun. His feathers started burning, and of course, the glue started coming apart, even though his father warned him not to fly close to the sun. And of course, that's what we got here with this burning effect. It's also the same thing with the horse. You have the Daedalus, which actually has a similar bunch of feathers like this that are just burning and everything. I'll show you that later. And the set comes basically with the actual set itself plus a bow. And one of the things that I thought would be really cool is the Ikaros set has 100% damage while midair. So that would be anytime you're jumping off of a high spot, or anytime you are, just in the air in general. So, like, what I thought would be cool would be just, working something out where we kind of have this action going on, maybe stop time and then do that vanish. And, you got plenty of time to, like, do this damage like this, but the damage staying grounded this whole time, honestly. It also makes a lot of different abilities, or it gives you like a lot of power in the event that you're doing this, that you're doing the Rain of Destruction. But even that really isn't that powerful. The gimmicks are kind of disappointing, honestly. I preferred to stay on the ground in order to like make any sort of build with this. Here's the horse like I was telling you about. As you can see, it actually looks pretty cool. The wings on it do not make it fly, so don't even try it. You're not going to like jump off of any buildings and survive that at all. But yeah, like I'm saying, it's really not a build where you want to stay in the air. This is a build where you really want to stay on the ground. Everything that I've done where I tried to stay in the air, the build really doesn't justify, like the use for any of those combos. I really thought that this would be like an awesome gimmick that would be easily exploitable, even with using, the extra damage from above and things like that. And it really didn't work. Not really, not at all. So let me show you the build, and then we'll show you, like what I added to it, where I'm getting those kind of numbers while on the ground. And honestly, if you're interested in the build, or to find that it's basically just for cosmetic purposes, that you would buy this set, because everything that this build has is pretty much the Master Artemis set, which you could get just hunting down the animals. Unless, like if anybody has any good ideas, and like, I'm turning to the community for this, you guys usually do have great ideas when it comes to like builds. If you guys have any ideas on what I could try in order to make the aerial gimmick a little more viable, definitely let me know. But this is not something that, like, really I want to use too often. I mean, you can see that right there. That did some pretty decent numbers, but it's not consistent. Anyway, hold on. Here's the build. Alright, so here we go. Besides looking like some sort of rejected member of like an ancient Justice League or something like that, there's really not a lot to this build that I was actually impressed with as far as what I had to work with. Honestly, I'm going to tell you that unless you want this build for like the kind of like look of it, or the, you know, like ability to change everything around, I'm going to take a hard pass on this, honestly. I might even use some of the items or the engravings for other gear instead of, like, you know, building something around this gear. But I'll show you anyway. We'll start with like the armor. So the entire set gives you plus 100% damage while midair, which should be cool. And I'll show you later what I mean by should be, okay? 25% hunter damage, 50% crit damage. I added 50% headshot damage because with these type of builds, I always like to aim for the head. Now, we probably could put crit chance there instead. All right? We'll move along, though. Eagle bracers, 25% hunter damage, 50% adrenaline on headshot kill. Again, headshots do the most damage, so that's why I'm always aiming for the head. 10% crit chance with hunter abilities. Anything that is a hunter ability, anything that you would activate for hunter, plus 10% crit chance with hunter abilities. Again, we could probably alter that to crit chance. The harness, 25% hunter damage, 50% elemental buildup. Now, this is part of the gimmicky scheme that, like, I thought would be great. That's why, like, I have fire arrows, elemental buildup that does like a lot of, you know, it builds up as far as the element goes. So that could even be for poison. I incorporated it with fire. You'll see why. I added 20% hunter damage. Going over to the legendary waste, 25% hunter damage, 50% headshot damage, 5% crit chance, and 25% crit damage while full health. We're usually going to be full health with this build. All right, so those are kind of big numbers. 25% hunter damage, 20% damage with bow charged shot. I added 30% damage with bows while hidden, and these are on the legs, the feet. The reason I added damage with bows while hidden is because with this kind of build, I found it's a lot easier to just stay hidden instead of like in your face or anything like that. Going all out really does you no good, which is kind of why even the damage while in midair kind of does you no good unless they don't see you and stuff like that. Going over to the weapons, I chose the Elysian Axe, which has 25% hunter damage, 10% all damage, 20% damage with Rain of Destruction ability, which I thought honestly would help out with the Rain of Destruction ability, and it's really not. 100% damage, but health cap to 25% I added just because I wanted to get a little more damage out of this build. If you've seen on a bunch of my older builds, I've gotten like 10 million damage on, you know, like a build that was purely hunter using just the Artemis set. And then they nerfed hunter damage and stuff like that, which, I mean, that's a story for like another time. Anyway, going over to the Harp of Perseus, I had 25% hunter damage, 50% crit damage, 25% cooldown duration for all abilities, which I wanted because I really wanted those abilities to be available very fast, especially with this kind of build, especially, you know, I was hoping really to use that mid-air gimmick. And I had 20% hunter damage. Now, the bow, the Pitame, this comes with, and I probably said that wrong, feel free to like bash me in the comments, you're going to anyway. But this actually comes with the set. This comes with the pack. 25% hunter damage, 10% crit chance, 25% crit chance with Rain of Destruction ability, which is why I added the Elysian Axe. And then I added basic arrows become fire arrows because I figured that would be going well with the elemental buildup. Now, looking back, I'm thinking maybe I should have added poison arrows with the elemental buildup, and I'll show you why when we get to like the actual abilities that I've used. Now, as far as abilities go, in Assassin, you really don't need a lot. You probably want Shadow Assassin. Rush Assassination is not necessary. Stealth Master, just so that you're not making noise. These two are actually going to keep you hidden. You're going to be able to like really like, you know, like hide very well, which is part of like this build. If I had gone Poison Arrows, then I probably would have went with not Blessing of Kronos, but Venomous Attacks, and put 3 ranks in Poison Mastery. All right. Hero Strike I always use as a staple of a lot of my builds because I like to have it just in case I need to get away. Kronos' Time Warp. Normally you have slow time, but Kronos' Time Warp, as you can see, slow time for 5 seconds. Headshots performed during this time extend the duration by 2.5 seconds and increase headshot damage by 125%. Ability wears off after 5 headshots. So I added this in order to like really get those headshots in and help us out. And the damage it does, as you can see, is phenomenal. All right. I also added here, this is Vanish normally, but with the Atlantis DLC, you can upgrade it to Chronos Time Shift. And as you can see, Chronos bends time around you, time stops for 3 seconds, you're launched in the air, nearby enemies are stunned, Leap of Faith, Ground Smash, and Hunter abilities can be activated. So you're up in the air and you're firing down, and I'm thinking like, you know, it would help do those extra headshots if you have that 100% damage while in midair. And then also, originally I added, I believe it was 30% damage or 40% extra damage against enemies below you. And it really wasn't consistent. It really didn't do anything. Now I'm thinking that if this had been a poison build, maybe because this is initially Vanish, add the ability where Vanish poisons everyone around you. You know, so that way you get like a little extra damage as you're firing poison arrows. But we'll see. Maybe I'll do that for another time. The other items here we're really not going to go with. As far as Warrior goes, we definitely want Ares' Last Breath, or in its original format, Second Wind. You're going to be squishy with that 25% health, but 100% extra damage. So you really want to avoid being able to catch fire, poison. You want to be able to clean all that off of you. Gear and Weapons Master, you need, you know, as I say in all my builds, you want the extra damage and you want the extra health, the extra protection from anything that's going to hurt you. Being that this is a fire build, you should have 1 rank in flaming attacks, but 3 in fire mastery. Overpower attacks, put 1 in overpower at least, so that you could have Battle Cry of Ares or Ares Madness. This is going to be your last case scenario. If you're really, really in trouble, you're going to want to activate this just so that you're not taking a lot of damage, but you're dealing a lot of damage so that you can escape. Because this build, like I say, this is going to be like a really weird build. Far as Hunter goes, obviously it is a Hunter build, so we definitely do want a lot of different things in Hunter. Predator Shot, depending on what you're into. Devastating Shot I always use just because it is a devastating shot. But Artemis Trickery we probably do not want to have activated because it will affect, you know, like other things. It'll detonate. If you're going to use that, make sure that you're not aiming for the head, that you're actually aiming for like the ground, because it activates a trap basically. All right, Devastating Shot will not do anything if you're aiming for the head and you have Artemis's Trickery activated, so just keep that in mind. Multi-shot, if you're going to be in surrounded by like a lot of enemies, or you're going to be in conquest battles, you definitely want to have that. Being that this is a, you know, just a fire build, or we could alter it to a poison build, you probably don't need Arrow Master unless you plan on using fire arrows or poison arrows and just adding something else onto the bow rather than regular arrows become poison or fire or fire arrows. All right. Might of Artemis, this is Reign of Destruction, so rather than like actually aiming with Might of Artemis, you're just, you know, in the middle and shooting straight up and you're getting surrounded. So play around with that, see what happens there. One of the biggest things in this build that I find is putting at least 1 in Overpower Bow Strike and 3 in Ghost Arrows of Artemis. I actually find myself using that a lot and seeing like really high million numbers when I use that. So that's going to be a definite. All right, as far as masteries go, this is, again, one of those like weird things. So damage with bows when above target, I tried this along with all the other things that I had explained earlier. And again, like I really wasn't impressed with the damage output. It wasn't consistent. And again, maybe you guys, you know, could help me figure this out because it's weird. All right. Going down, hunter damage, that's a definite. You know, we're a hunter, so you definitely need that damage. We don't have spears or staffs on this one. Crit chance, crit damage, those are yes to both. Headshot damage, that's a definite. You're always going to be trying to aim for the head, so definitely do that. Damage with bow charge, shot, sure. Bow charging speed, yes. Damage with bows on distant targets. If you're a long range hunter, then you definitely want to add that. All right. If not, you may want to practice and then add that. Let's see. Range resistance, yes, just in case you're being shot at. Elemental buildup, yes, for the fire or poison buildup. It's going to do like a lot more. Adrenaline on headshot kill. Being that we're aiming for the head, yes. You're going to lose adrenaline a lot. You're going to want to gain it just as fast. Chance not to consume special arrows only if you're using fire and poison arrows. That's what you want there. Damage with bows while hidden. Being that I have the damage with bows while hidden, you definitely want to add this as well. Damage with hunter abilities, yes. Depending on any of these things that you use here. Predator shot, devastating, multi-shot, spread shot, rain of destruction, definitely you want to add, being that there's a lot of rain of destruction on this build. Damage with ghost arrows of Artemis ability, definitely. Alright, so that's what you want with the hunter. As far as warrior, again here there's really not a lot that you're going to take on. Let's see, while Conquest battles, you're definitely going to want to add that, being that in Conquest battles you're going to need the extra damage, so definitely do that. Heavy bladed you may want because we do have the Elysium Axe. We're trying to stay out of low health, but you may want to add these just in case you're using that 25% health because you may be squishy. Overpower abilities, not really. Athenian soldiers, Spartan soldiers, if you're going to be going to battlefields a lot or you're attacking one faction over the other mostly, then you definitely want this. Health and total armor, yes to both. You definitely need that. Melee resistance, fire damage, yes, if you're going with a fire build. Armor penetration, not really. Damage per enemy engaged, I would go with yes. Damage while low health, yes. Again, you may be squishy. Damage dealt restored as health, I would definitely go for. Warrior abilities, no, and any of these warrior abilities we're really not going to need. Alright, going over to Assassin. Damage whenever time is slowed down, yes. If you're using that Chronos time shift, you definitely want to have this added here because you want that extra damage. Poison weakening effect, if this is a poison build, as far as what I put together, you decide instead of a fire build to go with poison, then yes. Damage after perfectly timed dodge, no, not really with assassin damage. Daggers, yes, being that we have the dagger. And you may want to save anything with as far as like the daggers and the other weapon because you may want to keep it with bows solely. Okay, because this is going to be like a hunter build. It's going to use a lot of bow power. Chance while full health, crit damage chance while full health, and yeah, damage and chance you definitely want because we're going to try to stay healthy. So you're definitely going to want that. Damage while full health, yes. Chance to ignore half damage, no. Elemental resistance, possibly if you have the points to spare, just because poison and fire you really don't want to catch. Poison damage, yes, if you alternate this to a poison build. Adrenaline per hit, yes. Adrenaline per crit, yes. The assassination kill, you're really not going to be doing that. Perfectly timed dodge, maybe if you're, trying to like dodge them out. If they find where you are and they come after you. Movement speed by crouching, yes. Especially if you're moving around a lot. You're definitely going to want to have, let's see, damage on elites and bosses. If you plan on doing conquest battles or you're going to be surrounded by a lot of elites and bosses, definitely want to add that. Further down, Hero Strike if you add that, and not really anything else. Alright, so that's what you're going to want there. Now, as far as the numbers go, Hunter damage is 410%. That's huge. That's actually pretty good. Damage again, or damage with headshots, that's also impressive, 265%. Always aim for the head. We're going to be like murdering these guys. Weapon modifiers, they're 30% across the board. We really don't care about those though. Critical hit damage, 225%. The chance is 30%. We probably should try to increase the hit chance percentage. Same with full health. Chance with full health, 45%, but I'd like to see that higher. Critical hit damage while full health, also good, 300%. While low health, 40% and 275% respectively as far as chance and damage go. Again, those are great numbers, but we do not want to stay into low health. You want to remain healthy as far as possible. Fire damage, 60%, 15-second fire duration, and the buildup is 260%. Those are decent numbers. I'd like to see it higher just as far as getting, like that extra damage. But again, we may try this with poison. We may try it without, without anything. Rest of our modifiers are pretty good. Health, armor bonus, 20 and 150 respectively. Melee resistance and ranged, 15%, 23.5. Elemental, 15%. Chance to ignore half damage, 20%. That's pretty decent. Our utilities, adrenaline per hit, per critical hit, 30 and 40. Assassination kill, 50, but we're really not trying to assassinate. Headshot kill, 100%. We're going to enjoy that a lot. Bow charging speed and movement while crouching, both 20%. Those are both going to be big numbers. So that's the build. Again, we're not going to make use of that gimmick a lot. I'm telling you right now, the in the air, because it really doesn't do anything. We're going to stay hidden a lot, though. Because as we're hidden and we aim for the head, as you can see, it does some major damage. That's a problem, catching fire. Again, those numbers are decent. They're nothing like really huge. They're nothing like really impressive.
Something's out there.
There's the Ghost Arrow of Artemis, which is really impressive, as you can see. Going through walls and everything. And that was a miss in the millions. Wow. Can't get this guy. Stop moving! There we go, finally. Only took me like one try. I'm joking. These guys must have all just jumped off the top there to like see what was going on. This is going to be a very stealthy build. Like you do not want to be around anyone. You want to be hidden. You want to be crouched a lot. You don't want to be in your face in this build. Which means that this build is going to be a real pain when it comes to being in Conquest battle. Yeah, I don't want to carry that. See, now we'll try getting in their face. See, I slow down time. Up in the air. I mean, of course he had his shield, but the damage really isn't doing a lot. I mean, it is decent damage while you're in the air. I tried to get it better while you were in the air, but it wasn't really working out. No, I don't want to give up. Reign of Destruction, decent. Not really impressive numbers, though. That guy killed himself by lighting the beacon, which is what we wanted. That wasn't a headshot. Did some decent damage, though. You're very squishy. You want to avoid those guys. Try this with the Ghost Arrow of Artemis. That's got to be crazy. If I would have actually hit him. There we go. That was like a 1.5 million damage. But again, that was Ghost Arrows of Artemis. I actually did have a tweak with this kind of stuff where I actually did it not with Ghost Arrow of Artemis, but the Devastating Shot before we got the DLC, and was able to like alternate that. The fire arrows give it like a little extra damage, but again, there was really not impressive, especially since they nerfed Hunter abilities. The nerf really hurt. There goes almost 2 million in damage. If this was pre-nerf, the damage would have probably been more impressive. But as you saw, like, it really didn't perform well, like, especially in the air. And trust me, those numbers don't get any bigger when you add the attack from above and stuff like that. Maybe we should add a little more extra crit chance. I don't know. Let's see how it does in the middle of a Conquest battle, though. So here we are in the middle of a Conquest battle, and this kind of battle, you always want to use multi-shot. So we're seeing like a lot of damage with multi-shot, which is great. A lot of people dropping. That's always a good sign. And this is also going to be one of those things where if things get too hairy, we can actually use the Battle Cry of Ares Madness, so that way we're actually taking out multiple enemies without even hurting ourselves, building up our adrenaline as well, just so that we've got a shot for later on. So here we go again. And we're multi-shotting a lot of them, because that's actually the best thing to do in this scenario. Ghost Arrow of Artemis, so that way we could like get our target. Nice damage. Would have been prettier if it would have been in yellow. Getting the point across, though. Out of adrenaline, which sucks. That's why we got to go for the headshots now. And there we go, the battle is over. So it did decent. 72 soldiers killed, 5 captains killed, and that's mostly multi-shots. Alright, so that was decent, a decent attack. worked better in Conquest than it did in the Fortress. Fortress, as long as you were sneaking around, you were doing some big numbers. So that's actually, you know, like pretty decent. That's what we needed there. Again, like I say, even though this build did do like some pretty nice, you know, numbers in the millions, I really wasn't impressed. And on a side note, just so that you know, you could actually do this build and you don't even need the you don't even need the Ikaros set. As you can see, 25% hunter damage, 50% crit damage. If you look at the Artemis hood, let's see where we got it. I have so much different gear. Oh, here it is, right next to it. So look, 25% hunter damage, 50% crit damage. 25% hunter damage, 50% headshot damage. You just have to basically like switch everything around. Except with the Artemis set, you get 50% damage with hunter abilities. You could add the 100% damage while midair on the Artemis set at any given time. All right, that's the headpiece. Let's take a look at the bracers. Hopefully they're right next to each other. Yeah, and they are. So here we go. 25% hunter damage, 50% adrenaline on headshot kill. 25% hunter damage, 50% adrenaline on headshot kill. So that's basically tit for tat as far as what we've got there. Looking at the body pieces. Well, this isn't going to be next to each other. 25% hunter damage, 50% elemental buildup. Artemis's outfit, 25% hunter damage, 20% bow charging speed. So that is one piece where it has, or a second piece, where it has different items, but you could add to it just to make it that build. Same thing with, let's see, where is the Artemis belt though, so that I could show that to you. Want to make sure we're looking at the correct item. Okay, here we go. Artemis's belt is right up here. So 25% hunter damage, 50% headshot damage. What does Artemis's belt give us? 25% hunter damage, 30% damage with bows on distant targets. So all you have to do is add the headshot damage. All you have to do is add the headshot damage directly to the Artemis's belt, and you basically have like a ghetto Ikaros set. Where is Artemis's treads? So many freaking... This is the one problem with having all these different... all this different gear, is like searching for what you want, trying to put it together. That's why it's just a lot easier now that we have equip set, and you can equip the entire set all at once. Okay, so it's all the way at the bottom, Artemis's set. So Artemis's treads, 25% hunter damage, 20% damage with bow charge shot. 25% hunter damage, 20% damage with bow charge shot. So it's the exact same thing. So all you have to do is just alternate a couple of things. Just add that 100% damage while midair, if like that's what you wanted to do on the Artemis set. And I might even try that. I might even try to see if the Artemis set could be a better Ikaros set than the Icarus set is. Because it just gets crazy. It's just weird. It honestly, like I said, I really wasn't impressed with the Ikaros set. It has a couple of gimmicks that, just like the actual Legend of Icaros, fly too close to the sun but burn up and just fall apart. There may be a couple of things that I could alter, and I'm going to be trying, but your best bet is to stay grounded in order to do anything. I really, like I say, this could have been so much better if that gimmick would have been, if I really could have made this damage while midair work. I think it could have been cool. The only thing is, fighting while in midair is kind of hard, so maybe that's why I didn't put a lot of concentration into it. I did try really hard to like fight while in midair, like to do a lot of stuff like that. But you're, like I said, you're better off on the ground, unless you're like constantly leaping off of rooftops or structures or whatever. I mean, let's face it, this isn't a Batman build, but it could be. Anyway, let me know what your thoughts are. Put that in the comments below. Like, what changes could I make? What things could I change in order to like make it a little bit better? What do you suggest? What do you want to see? What would you do? What would you hope for? What do you want me to mess with in order to try to make this a better build? Let me know that, please, by all means. The community, you guys are so intelligent. You guys come out with stuff, it blows my mind. Anyway, other than that, they better subscribe, because it's going to help out the YouTube assassin. And as always, thank you for watching.